Godversation, for one, it is pronounced God.versation, as in conversation, but Godversation. So you're essentially taking a C-O-N off and putting a G-O-D in its place with the period though. So it's God.versation. It literally means a conversation about God. This is a conversation about how God relates to the world that we live in right now today. Because so many assume that, God is dead. They go about life as though God is dead, when in reality, the signs of the fact that God is real are around us every day. You see the Lord in all of his works. You see the Lord in the sun. You see him in the moon. You feel him in the wind. You see him in people. You hear him in your own very voice, because you can't actually breathe without the breath of God being breathed into you first. So Godversation, it started back when I was in school. Back at the beginning of school, I had a teacher. She was a great teacher. She still is a great woman in the media right now. I won't mention her name, but she was a jack of all trades. I'm talking that she did everything from digital marketing, and she could market any type of way. She knew how to run everything that it came down to social media. And it was a requirement of us to actually have a social media profile. In almost every social media, we had to have YouTube, we had to have TikTok, we had to have, it was Twitter at the time, but now it's X. We had to have a LinkedIn account, we had to have a Facebook account, we had to have an Instagram account. We had to have all of these different accounts. And then we also had to have websites that she taught us to build using WordPress and other engines. And, it was so amazing all that she had to teach us. So I made sure that I tuned in quite well to her. It was just an awesome class. It was an awesome course. It was done online and in person. The school that I went to was a great school. I met a whole lot of people there, from the teachers to the students. There was a lot of talent, is the best way to put it. For various reasons, different people were attending the school. Some wanted to be on the actual radio themselves, be radio broadcasters. So, they took RTB, which I took too, radio transmission and broadcasting. And we had awesome teachers, really awesome teachers that were on the radio. I won't say their names either, but they were people that were on the radio. Whoever taught the class that we were in were people who actually at that time had a presence in that form of media. They had not just no small one, a real presence. They were known. They were good. Pretty much they were awesome. The whole entire staff there was awesome. All the way down to the career services. You could learn anything concerning the media. Anything that had to do with the media, you could learn it. So, and I went there and I learned it. Then after I learned that, then I took on video through Film Emphasis, who I had a teacher then who is very renowned. He's made so many movies himself, and he still does movies. He doesn't even have to do this as a teacher. He just loves to do it. Like a lot of them was the same way. They just love to do it. So Godversation came walking through those hallways because, for one, it was something that we had to do. So we were challenged to do something that was close to our hearts, so that it wouldn't just be something that we got a grade on. If you do what you love, then it isn't considered work at all. So, that was the challenge to me. Put out a YouTube channel that basically would be something that I would be willing to keep going back to. Now, obviously, I had already had a YouTube channel under Reese C. Clear, which was what I was at the time. Through the life experiences, I had found out who I was and what I was supposed to be on the media. Then I wound up going to school for the media after all of that. So I went back to that same page, and then it was dear to my heart to have a conversation that's about God. Because I, at that point, had come to and I was continually coming to the understanding that God was 100% absolutely real, and that he was in the world all around me, and that I had come to also a really deep realization in life that there was no way to miss him. For me, it became impossible, to miss him. Then I began to have the things that was going on in the world around me begin to make sense in relation to how they tied in to the Lord. Like, he's the one that said that as long as he decided that there would be seasons, then I began to realize that, that was true because of the seasons. He's the one that promised that he would never again end the world in a flood, and that he would put his rainbow in the sky. And I began to realize that, there is actually a rainbow every time that it rains. Then that's not as a reminder to us, that's a reminder to itself that he's not gonna kill us in the flood, wicked people that we are. Then I began to realize that, everything in life that is going on, period, is not being missed by God. I knew that he was real due to things that was going on in my life. So then I decided to make Godversation so that I can have that conversation. And I actually did have several conversations with a lot of different people there. Some of it I still have. I got to go back and find those flash drives, and then some of it I'll flash it up there. But I did some interviews. They all gave me the permission to do these interviews for a later date that I was going to be doing the show. And they knew that this is what the show was going to be, because everyone there was just willing to help everyone. And I seen that, I wasn't the only one. Among the students that was going there, there was a vast majority of them that really did believe in God. And some were actually going for the same purpose. They were going to get the tool set that they needed to then go forth in the Lord's kingdom without having to be charged an exorbitant amount of money to do that. When I started Godversation, I actually put out a couple of episodes back when I started, and they are still on the channel. They're just under Reese C. Clear. You can go back under Reese C. Clear. I'll put up a pop-up right there where you can go and find that. I had put a couple of episodes out, at the time, and they were good, but then the Lord caused me to pause, because then I went into the actual physical church. And going into the actual physical church, I started doing work for the church. I moved on, to another church that actually understood, that was actually seeing the work that I was doing, and there had came an issue there in the other place where, the work that we do in the media, someone has to pay attention to it. It makes no sense to have a person doing the job there and then you never go and check it, what they're doing. And I was kind of stagnant at that moment in that particular media department because of that, because of all that I had done. So Godversation and many other things that I was doing were on the back burner. But as of now, we've picked them back up, and Godversation, it is going along. We're 3 episodes in, and just keep sticking with us. We're gonna get better and better at it. I've met other men and women of God who have this conversation about God. Everyone is welcome to actually come on Godversation if they are willing to be able to have a conversation, or at least be questioned about their opinions about God, and be able to withstand that, because no one is judging. I'm not trying to force anyone into Christianity or in any of that, but what I am trying to do with Godversation is to make you aware of the fact that God is God and that he is in the world around you, and we'll tie that into world events. We discussed the Diddy, just as something to be discussing, but it also tied into the scriptures as far as in Luke 12:2, it says that whatever is done in secret should be shouted from the rooftops. It also ties into Ephesians as far as having these powers and these spiritual hosts of wickedness that are in the world right now, and that will bring forth the devil's agenda. So we were able to successfully tie that in because it is the word and it is the Lord. Don't expect the average conversation, just expect the great conversation, a Godversation, a conversation that is based in the Lord, that is all about God. And he's done a lot to bring us to this point. So just continue to tune in, but don't just worry about me either. Tune in to Beyond the Four Walls. We are temporarily at 9556 South King Drive in Chicago, Illinois, and we have service on Saturday, the Sabbath service. At 11 a.m., we start off with the School of the Supernatural, where our apostle, Arthur Bogoul, teaches you the things of the Lord. He teaches you how to govern yourself and how the Lord is speaking to you spiritually. I should let you know that nothing happens with the noon service until the Holy Ghost has descended into the place. We just praise and worship so hard till you just feel the place thick with the presence of the Lord. And then we go forth with the word. In short, Beyond the Four Walls is your one-stop shop for everything pertaining to God, everything pertaining to the Lord. If you're like myself and millions of others who, when they go on social media, you're not really looking for entertainment per se, you're looking for the word. You know, if you want to be intrigued by the Lord, you want to be spiritually edified, you're looking for something that has to do with the Lord. Even if it's just comedy, you want something that's still spiritually based in the Lord, based in the truth. You know, that's us. We do it all here, and we steadily are constantly growing. If you don't join us physically, then just stream it. You can stream us on the content that we have. So you can join either Godversation or follow Godversation. Also, like if you like any of the content that you see on Beyond the Four Walls or Godversation or anywhere, we ask you to comment and we ask you to share the live to help us get the word out there, because we're in the last days where we truly are. And that's another thing that the Lord is having to go forth in the earth right now. The real truth pertaining to the fact that He is God, and everything that He has said has come to pass, and it will continue to come to pass. In His will, it is already done. It is already done. It's a thing that you can already count on. So continue to tune in to Godversation. We drop a new Godversation every single Monday night at 5 p.m. on Godversation. So don't just go to watch the show, just throw a follow so that, you know, we can continue to grow. You know, we do this work for the Lord, so it's not going to cost you anything to just go ahead and put a follow in, and then share it and have others follow it as well.